this be one of the best moments of your life. You're listening to the Business Mirror podcast for a broader look on business with Senior Editor Dennis Estopace.
Welcome to Tuesdays at BM with Laika, where Business Mirror columnist Laika Balita shares with us her thoughts on life. For the text version online, please go to the Business Mirror website and search for Laika Balita. For the print edition, please read Laika's column onwards every Tuesday in the Business Mirror newspaper. Let's get on with the story.
A naked woman was found dead, her head in a toilet in 2014. A man was found dead, a wooden stick in his genitals in 2021. In between these two deaths, there have been dozens of similar deaths and hundreds of similar assaults in the Philippines alone. Prior to 2014, who knows how many more? Does this make you uncomfortable? A negative answer would be strange, because violent deaths are inherently unsettling in the first place. But if I told you that these deaths, what they have in common, is that they all involve transgender men and women as victims, would the story still bring the same discomfort? June 1 marks the beginning of Pride Month. Contrary to superficial observers, Pride is a protest, not just a month where corporations can profit off of the LGBT community by slapping rainbows on their products. What is there to protest? Your people are accepted now, some people might ask. Stories like these are what we protest. The vicious murders, rapes, and discrimination of human beings. You don't rape, beat, and kill the people you accept. You can't pick whom among us to accept, then kill the others. Many come across stories about the community and they feel uncomfortable, so they switch to a different, more conventional, comforting story. It's interesting, they don't like the LGBT community because it's an uncomfortable topic, usually because of personal beliefs. Meanwhile, we from the LGBT community, we don't like bigots because they murder, they rape, and they abuse our brothers and sisters, if not us directly. How proportionate, Personal discomfort due to personal opinions versus actual physical violence. Suddenly, human dignity is not universal. It does not apply to everyone, and minor discomfort is worth hundreds and thousands of lives. Discrimination is not always violent, but it's always very evident. The more low-key and sometimes unintentional, they included disdainful stares in church, the threatening glares in restrooms, and the blatant, clear alienation in big groups. The more harmful and more common include kicking out of the house, constructive dismissal by employers, and withdrawal of financial support from our own families. Some of the worst, which are more common than most people assume, they include sexual abuse, bloody beatings, mutilation, and violent murders done out of hate and prejudice. Sexual abuse is actually very common. I personally know 4 lesbians, 2 of them very masculine, who have been raped by straight, cisgender men who knew the women's sexuality. As an FYI, cisgender, it means you're not transgender. Okay. So in what world is this okay? These murders, these rapes, and abuses. The manifestations of homophobia and transphobia are kind of ridiculous, actually. Bigots can easily refer to Marlou as Sander Ford, but somehow magically struggle to say Jake Zyrus, and they'd rather insist on dead names. How subtle. Here's another. Many refuse to allow trans women to use women's restrooms because they fear that men would take advantage of this and violate women's privacy. But based on the reasoning, the problem was never with the LGBT community. It was never a problem about the trans women. The fear was always because of the cisgender, straight men who are outside of the community. Why do trans women have to bear the brunt, to take the brunt for the bigots' perverted tendencies? Personally, I've experienced being referred to as it because I have short hair, and that somehow made me less human. I've experienced attempted assaults because I'm very obviously a lesbian. I have sat through classes where professors have proclaimed to the whole class that people like me live dishonorable lives and are abominations who will burn in hell, while everyone, even my friends, just stayed silent, and I just stole entertained glances at me to see how I'd react. All of these, the discrimination, the abuses, the rapes, and the murders, just because of discomfort based on bigoted beliefs. Then, in an attempt to justify all these, the religious arguments come raining in, when religion was never the topic in the first place. The issue was always centered on deserving basic human decency. Should trans men and women be killed? Should lesbians be raped? Should gay men be mutilated? These and similar questions were the actual issues. In a humane, logical world, the answer should have always been no. No, trans men and women should not be killed. Lesbians should not be raped. Gay men should not be mutilated. It was never a religious debate. Minor discomfort should never be worth hundreds of lives. To stand back and propagate these beliefs, these bigoted beliefs, is to tolerate these abuses, the rapes, the beatings, and the murders. Again, a naked woman was found dead, her head inside a toilet in 2014. A man was found dead, a wooden stick in his genitals in 2021. That's in 2021. And these are just 2 of the thousands of deaths all over the world. To stay silent is to be complicit. To be okay with that is inhumane and selfish and hypocritical. Is this article making you uncomfortable? Is this podcast, this topic, is it making you uncomfortable? Hey, lucky you, at least you're still alive. You've never been raped, assaulted, murdered, beaten. While you sit uncomfortably because of our existence, my brothers and sisters are beaten, raped, and killed every single day because of that discomfort, because of those beliefs. Maybe when a belief results in violations of human rights, maybe the problem is with the belief and not the victims. Maybe a logical, humane, and impartial reflection on these beliefs is in order. This is why pride is a necessary protest. This discomfort is not worth these lives. Cruel murders and abuses should be infinitely more disturbing than seeing 2 men holding hands.
Thank you for listening to the Business Mirror podcast. For a broader look on business, follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Business Mirror. Until next time.